Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP, and I'm going to be talking about Pawn's Journeys video. So I went to do a disclaimer that I love Pawn and Pawn's videos, and I think that she made a really good video, and she talks about certain things that some people just don't talk about, and her video contains truth, and she based it off of 2 articles that she has read, and I've skimmed through those articles. And it was the video about long-term burnout and about like, are you still recovering from burnout? Have you truly recovered? Yeah, and so according to that, I am not truly recovered from burnout. And according to that, I would have been in burnout since 2023, at least, right? And also I would have been in burnout since I was 15 years old, because I have been in this chronic low phase my whole life. It seems like, but it exacerbated when I was 15 with certain flare-ups of like acute burnout reactions. I had one such reaction when I was in 2019, one in 2022, one in 2023. And I've probably had some other ones when I was a teenager. It's just that I had less demands put on me, so it was different. I also think that I probably had something like that when it was like 2016. Yeah, something like that. So I've probably had several burnouts, but like I've been in chronic burnout, the chronic phase, since age 15. According to that definition, because I've never had so much energy as I do now, which is like depressing to say the least. But I've managed to accommodate certain things about my life and stuff, and I'm at a good level. So I don't know who I am without burnout, pretty much. It's like this is who I am, this is what my energy levels are. I don't know what other life there is. Is this just me being autistic, or is this me being in burnout? I don't know, and I'll probably never know, because I'm never getting out of burnout according to the way that you're supposed to get out of burnout. According to these articles, is that you're supposed to use only 60% of your energy and have 40% of your energy left at the end of the day, and have this consistently during a large amount of time. And I'm never using less than 60% of my energy for the day. Just going to work or going to the university or whatever, going to school, that took more than 50% of my energy. So, yeah, and then so you have only like 10% of your energy left when you get back home to, eat, brush your teeth, change your clothes, tuck yourself to bed. I mean, you can't do anything more than that. Like, your energy levels when you're burnt out is like very, very low, so you can't do these things to start with. And then so you have all these things that you're supposed to do, and you don't. I'm constantly, nearing 100% of my energy use. Sometimes I even use more than my energy, and I have to pay for it the next day. But like, I cannot afford to live a life where I only use 60% of my energy, because I would not be able to take care of my basic needs. I wouldn't get my needs met, and I do have to work in order to get my needs met. And then also, even when I'm working 80%, I'm using more than 50% of my energy on going to work. And then there's the whole, if I use less than 60% of my energy, if I do that for too many days, then I become depressed. And it's like, that's even a worse state than being in burnout, is being in burnout and depressed. Because I I don't need to go into details, but it's better to have low energy and have some hope for your life than to be low energy and have no hope for your life. And I think that I'd rather live a cursed life that is cursed to being in burnout forever than to live a depressed life where I might end up hurting myself, so that's where we're at, so the things that made Pawn so happy, considering that she had hope of getting out of burnout in the future, actually made me sad and depressed. And it made me think, like, I'm never going to get out of burnout, since I've been in burnout for 15 years, more or less. And, what is even the definition of being in burnout compared to just regular difficulties of daily life and being chronically disabled as an autistic person? I don't know. I really don't know. I do know that I have had a loss of skills since 2 years back, when I had my biggest burnout yet, in that I have a hard time with my short-term memory, and I have a hard time with my concentration. However, I don't know if it was just that I was like really overcompensating when I was a teenager, or if it's just me becoming old, or if it's just I've always been this way. It's just I'm noticing it more now that I know that I'm autistic. But yeah, so I do notice that there are certain things that have not been the same since 2 years back. So the way that, so the truth, according to these articles and Paul and all that, which is probably closer to the truth, is that I've been in burnout since a long time, and so I don't know who I am. But I kind of need to delude myself into thinking, in order to survive, in order to be okay with my life, I need to think in this way, which is probably more of a white lie or whatever. But it's that, so I was burnt out 2 years ago. I got better a year ago, and sometimes I'm at risk of going back into burnout, but I'm not in burnout right now. That's kind of the way that I've been thinking, and that's the way I think I will continue to think. I guess that it is good to know that you're still in burnout, to know that you need to, be kind to yourself and take care of your energy levels and such. But I think that just knowing that I'm autistic helps with that. It's not feasible for me to use less than 60% of my energy over a long period of time, because I get, so either I don't get my needs met, and then I get depressed. So I'm not going to do that. Then Pawn talked about some triggering things for me, like, teeth. I hate brushing my teeth and going to the dentist and all that. So I'm not going to get more into that, but I do have certain things that I avoid thinking about just in general, because it's just too overwhelming for me. Another one of those things is driving, for example. I just can't deal with that. Unfortunately, I seem to be triggered by most things, and it's like, why? I try to, not be avoiding these things, but it's very, very hard. So I should be applying to driving school and all that, and I should be applying, getting a dentist appointment, and there are all these things that are a lot for me. And yeah, so when I encounter these in a video or something, I rather, I skip, and that's okay. I also sometimes, like, I just tune it out for a few seconds, I try to not just put my own feelings into it, because it's not fair on the person who's talking about these things, either in real life or on video. It's, people will talk about triggering things, and it's your problem if you're listening to it, it's just sometimes it's hard, because I went to get out of it, so I need to start with exposing myself slowly somehow. But yeah, I have so many things to think about. It's not the right time for me to start dealing with the driving situation or with other things. I think that I should be booking a dentist time, but anyway. So I have issues, I have problems, and yeah, it's depressing to talk about burnout. And yeah, so I think that I'm going to use the old concept that I had, and not this newer idea. Because also, like, where does the limit go between being a regular autistic person and burnout? I don't think that it's not that clear cut. Sure, autistic people can be happy, I think. I see certain autistic people living seemingly happy lives, but I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and I don't know what neurotypical people, what energy levels they're having. I'm just like observing from the outside. I don't know. So I don't know what normal energy levels are. Am I experiencing normal energy levels for me? Do I have capacity to have more? Possibly. But it's unfortunate, but I'll never get out of burnout if that's the way out, is by using only 60% of your energy. I can only do my best, but so I avoid acute burnout in the future, I guess. But I can't go on going around thinking that I'm in chronic burnout at all times, and that I will keep being in it. Because I also have, Pawn was like, yeah, I have, hopes and things for after my burnout. But I have to live my life despite being in chronic burnout. I need to, live my life. Because that is possible. You can live a life even if you're in a chronic state of burnout. You can't in an acute state of burnout. That just is really awful. But you can live a fulfilling life even if you are in burnout. It's just more difficult. If we agree to what the definition of burnout is. So for me, I think that I need to move the definition of burnout towards the more difficult, deep part. Also, by the way, in Sweden is the only country in the world that has a diagnosis code for burnout syndrome. And they are going to take it away because they say that it doesn't exist, and that because other countries don't have it, then Why would Sweden have a diagnosis code for it? It's not in the ICD, it's not in the DSM, it's just, yeah, it's only in the Swedish ICD, and they're going to get rid of it. And what are they going to replace it with, right? Are they going to replace it with? Well, I think that it will depend on who the doctor is. The doctor will either choose to call it acute stress reaction, which implies that it's acute in a short amount of time, right? Or anpassningsstörning, which means a disorder of adapting. So you have a hard time adapting to things, which really places the blame on the person, which is terrible. So I'm not going to do that. If I get a choice, I'm going to choose the acute stress reaction. However, that means that acute stress reaction, you can't get, you can't have that over a long period of time, right? So that's going to be difficult for a lot of people who need a sick leave for burnout. And that acute stress reaction is basically only like 2-3 weeks that you're able to be, on sick leave for that. While a lot of people experience burnout for months, if not years. So, yeah, it's going to be an unfortunate situation. But that's burnout is occupational burnout. It's not autistic burnout. They don't have a diagnosis for that. But yeah, we're living increasingly in a world that does not want to accept burnout as a thing. Like, even if online we are accepting it more and more, and also, between different people, but corporations and the government and all that are accepting it less and less. Late stage capitalism and all that. Anyway, but so I'm in a chronic stage of burnout, but I choose to not use that denomination and that paradigm. I choose to think of it a little bit differently. In order to survive, in order to continue living the best life that I can live. Because I can't live off of the hope of am I going to get better from this situation that I've been in as long as I can remember? I can't keep doing that. So that's where we are. That's where we're at. I'm going to end this video now. So yeah, I don't want it to seem that I'm like dissing on Pong because I really thought it was an interesting discussion to have. I wrote a comment there on that channel, but I realized that what I had done, I thought that my comment had been deleted due to, YouTube and comments, like my comment was kind of negative. I try not to, go too depressing on comments on other people's videos, right? Because, that's just a shitty thing to do. And I wasn't that bothered, I wasn't like going in a state of panic and crying and all that. I was fine. It wasn't like a huge thing. But I just felt a sigh of like, oh, this is depressing, but okay, let's move on. I hope that video of hers helps some people. It does help me in a way of like thinking, there's another way of conceptualizing this. And it makes me, I guess, be nice to myself. But, the autism diagnosis is enough. I don't need to, be aware of what level of burnout I'm in. I'd rather just say, okay, so I'm not in burnout. And I've been in burnout. And yeah, this is my baseline. This is who I am, and this is what my life looks like. And and I'm not going to go above and beyond to reach this state of nirvana that I'm never going to reach. So yeah, have a great day, everybody. Bye.